What's going on, everybody? This is Steve and Trav.
Nice to meet you, everyone.
We're here at Scooter West and Vespa Motorsport. We started 2 years ago doing like scooter spotlights. I think we did 2 of our employees, and we stopped doing them. Trav moonlights for us in the service department, helps us out a bunch in busier times. Primarily started off with some of the automatic scooters, but had motorcycles as well, and he's like kind of got bit by the Vespa bug, as this happens around here with us. And he's like, I want a vintage bike. What do you think I should get? And my advice is always Rally 200. For me, this is the quintessential vintage bike. It's the most rideable. It's a good mix of, still all metal, so it's not P-series plasticky. Travis looked around for a while, found this bike, local kind of Craigslist ad, asked us what we thought. I was like, oh, the thing looks pretty clean, really unmolested, which is kind of rare, a lot of the vintage bikes. So we kind of told them, yeah, go for it. Why not? Seems like a good deal. As is commonly the case, the good deals get expensive pretty quickly. This bike has like 3,400 miles on it, right, Trav?
Yeah.
And Trav brought it back to the shop and kind of started playing around with it. It was a bit of a barn find, right?
Yeah, I came out of Needles, high desert.
Okay. Covered in dirt, which is pretty typical. You always kind of see a bike that's relatively clean like this from a perspective of relatively lowish mileage, and you're always kind of wondering, what is the story with this bike? Didn't take long to realize why the mileage was so low and why it looked like the bike had been sitting for the last like 25, 30 years. Trav maybe went to add oil to it. Found a little mini problem here, right?
Yeah, just a little problem.
What's wrong with this picture? This is the crankcase. This is half of the engine, and this is looking at the underside of it. You can kind of see all the grease and grime that's caked on it. That's commonplace in a lot of the vintage Vespas. But this gaping hole,
no bueno.
Not supposed to be there. So I could theorize all vintage bikes, all old bikes have a story. It's kind of fun to kind of piece together those stories. So this 1976 Rally 200, probably used on a farm, off-road or something like that. Something damaged the crankcase, left this huge hole in it, led the bike to being not drivable, and thus the bike kind of sat until somebody found it, and that somebody put it on Craigslist, and then Travis came along and got it. So Travis has kind of worked on it off and on for the last year. Obviously these things are junk. Had to start fresh. So that brings us more or less where we're at now. So what can you tell us about this thing? What have you done to the motor, Travis?
Well, basically, starting fresh meant brand new Melosi PX cases, brand new Melosi 210 top ends, a SIP Road 2 box, obviously the Ducati 12 volt ignition, switched it over. Basically all new internals. Spent a good 3 hours cleaning out the old carb. Ended up being unsuccessful, so had to put a brand new 2424 on it. And then when we went to test drive it, the little idler gear for the kickstart basically locked onto the Christmas tree shaft. The kickstart just slung down the ground and just skidded. Luckily, I wasn't riding it. A robot was. He has a lot more experience, and he kept it upright and didn't total it. So we had to go back in, switch out the Christmas tree, put it all back together. It's been a lot of learning, a lot of time, but a lot of fun.
Cool thing about this, obviously, like Travis said, it's got the new PX motor, PX crankcase, but he kept the old kickstart quadrant in there so he could keep the original lever. So with the cowl on there, you can't necessarily tell it's a PX motor. Pretty slick. You can kind of see the road exhaust talked about. They come with those nice spring-mounted tabs. Pretty slick, but it's definitely a sleeper bike. Cosmetically looks pretty stock.
Yeah.
I think you've got the bike running and driving now. I've driven it a handful of times.
Yep, run, driving. It definitely rips. It's definitely way faster than my PX 150.
Stock kind of unmolested cosmetic condition still, like the paint on the leg shield is pretty good. I think Travis has kind of polished that up a little bit, but I don't know, for us, been around these things so long, they're special when they're in kind of an original state.
Still have the original reflectors on the fender.
Yeah, those are cool. So all the 70s bikes had those square ones. You can see the little CEV insignia on it. Got the original style horn. I think you tweaked out and got that thing functioning,
yeah,
maybe?
After 4 hours of taking it apart, cleaning it, putting it back together, getting it to work out of the bike, getting it to work in the bike for a little bit, and now it needs to come back out.
Still a bit of a work in progress. Just kind of tackling some of the cosmetic stuff now. It's already got new tires on it and cleaned up. Original wheels. I always just love like the original patina of like factory wheels that are like 30 years old, and everything about the bike has a cool patina, you know. Travis went ahead and installed the black leg shield trim just because it was missing leg shield trim.
Yeah, it was missing.
So you got to put something on there. We kind of spent the time too to kind of clean up some of the uglier rust in the floor, and just kind of, you know, late one night I kind of spot painted it just to kind of make it a little bit more presentable.
Weld up the holes from the sidecar that was on it.
Yeah, that's right. I think it had a pretty nasty floor too. And I think it's got a cool little stash spot still here, right, Trav?
Yeah.
I can feel it right there. That's where Travis keeps all of his obituates, PCP, piezo pipe, stuff like that. Just kidding. Travis doesn't do that.
Little access hole someone cut in it.
Classic barn style bike. They wanted to do something in there and couldn't figure out, or didn't want to spend the time pulling cables. Seen this countless other times. They pulled the mat up and just, they did drill a nice like hole saw hole in there, but luckily the mat kind of covers it. But kind of classic stuff you see on like barn finds and bikes of that nature. Cowl, we got cool. One of the closeout batteries.
Yep. Hey, it's a deal and it works.
So normally this has the rectangular 6-volt battery, but I guess Travis has upgraded to the 12-volt to kind of tie in with the PX stator plate and all that kind of stuff. So the bike will have pretty awesome electronics when it's all said and done. Original CEV taillight, right?
No, that's actually a repop. The original one was pretty trash.
Oh, it looks good. They're still made by CEV. We actually still have a stash of those in stock, but I thought this is actually original one still. What else can you tell us about it, Travis?
The seat was in pretty horrible shape when I got it. Basically just the frame. The foam was trashed. So I went to an upholstery shop and got some dense foam and just kind of cut and did my own. And then obviously got the seat cover from here to recover it. Had to put a new, more modern style switch on it because that one was not rebuildable. The left side was, so we fixed that, and then obviously wired it. Got rid of the turn signals. All the stocks were pretty much trashed anyways. They're almost impossible to find. The tank was in good shape. Took a little time to clean it out, but that was good.
Despite the hole in the engine, the hole in the frame, and low service rust, still like a really clean, good bones, good starting point vintage bike. And the fact that it's Rally 200, it's a desirable bike that it's fun to ride when it's all said and done.
Definitely.
What else? I think that may be about it.
That was about it. I was happy that the body was pretty clean and dent free because I'm not a body work guy.
Travis has asked us if we think he should paint it. We've kind of suggested no. You can repaint him at any point in time, but you can never go back to original. So.
Keep the patina.
Patina's sweet on this thing, and I think he's got plans to kind of wet sand and polish it out a little bit, but something cool about seeing like.
It'll be nice to keep it a sleeper.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you don't expect them to run that well when they look like a little weathered and a little on the rough side, but it's fun when they do. Well, thanks, Trav, for talking about your 1976 Rally 200 that you've been working on. We'll get you on camera again talking about some of your other bikes.
Yeah, totally.
Signing off. Steve, Travis, Scooter West, Vespa Motorsport, San Diego.